Placing points in region using SmartPix. In Topo 1.1, this is a enhanced function. We've added the ability to use SmartPix while placing points in a region. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the Dealey Plaza database again. And again, that's under the samples directory. Okay. And the points in region can be used to lay down a grid of points along any surface or area. So let me go ahead and select these points and delete them. So go to perspective view, and I'm going to use free rotate here. So I want to place points along this roadway. I want a nice grid of points. So to make it look a little better, I'm going to switch the view, configure point color scheme, and switch it to intensity hue. And then I'm going to hit advanced and move the gamma up a little bit and say preview. And this helps highlight. You can see here all the road noise here. I say done. So basically, I want to pick points in this and place points in a region along this roadway. And I want to make sure that I pick actually the ground. So let me hit plan view again. Okay, and then zoom in. I'm going to use my rotate mode, and this makes sure you stay in plan view. So we can just rotate here. So I want to place points on a grid only along this roadway. So I'm going to close this and go to Survey, Place Points in Region. Okay, so we're into this activity pane. We can configure our point ID. I'm going to start with 100 and say done. I'm going to use a free code because we're just placing 10 points, although you could use a code if you'd like. You can enter comment for all these points too. So this is the new addition. We can use Smart Pick, and I'm going to pick lowest point. Okay, and then I got to configure my grid, and this is the grid that shows you the placement of the points. So I'm going to press configure grid, and this brings up this activity pane, you'll notice. So we need to pick a point to place the center of the grid, and this is for visual effect. It just basically shows you where the grid is going to be placed and how it's going to be oriented. So you can see I want to rotate my grid so it's more even to the road. So I'm going to press rotate and just move it around and go, how about something like this? And then I want to place every 10 feet here, and I'm going to say apply. And you can see here how it's every 10 feet now. Now, be aware that you don't have to increase the size of the grid to encompass the whole area. In fact, as soon as you're satisfied with the orientation of the points, it's going to place them along the whole area, not just where the grid is. So if you want to shut it off so you don't see it anymore, just go like this, because you really don't need to know where the grid is when you start placing the points. So then we want to draw, in this case, a polygonal fence, because we just want the roadway, right? So I just want the roadway. So you can place them here, like this. And this is a search radius. Now let me turn on the grid to explain. The search radius is everywhere where there's a crossing of the grid lines. It's going to try to place a point right around there, and it's going to search according to the search radius. So if you want to keep your points more even, you can say, okay, I only want you to search 0.3 feet from the center, so you can have relatively even data. This replaces the pick zone when you're using SmartPix, that circular cursor. So this function replaces that. And then you can hit apply fence, and it's going to place them in this area. So you can hit apply fence. You'll see that down at the bottom here, you'll see this placing survey points in region. It'll give you a percentage readout, but you can cancel it also with this button right here and stop the process. So here are the candidate picks here, and we can see that they placed the points in the region. Now we can see that the points didn't return as even outside of this grid, but it's not because it's outside the grid. It's because our search radius was only 0.3 of a foot. And the density of the points, as you can see, the scanners here, and the density of points is really close. Our search radius constrained how far it could search for the next point. So if we want a more filled-in grid when the point data gets sparse, let's try 3 feet this time as a search radius. Apply fence. And then we'll see a much more even result. And this is important when you're dealing with sparse data. You see the density is good here, and they all got returned. But you need a larger search radius when you have sparse data. So let's wait for the return here, and I think we'll see, yes. You can see still some points in the sparse area didn't quite fill, but it got the vast majority of all the points with this search radius. Okay, and then we can say accept points here, and this turns them into survey points. So let's shut off the grid, reset fence, and then press free rotate, go back into perspective mode, and let's view the points. Okay, so the points, like we intended, are all based on the roadway. And you can see here that this car noise didn't affect the placement of the points. They were all evenly placed directly on the ground. So this is a good use of the function. You don't need to clean the roadway or get rid of the car noise before you do this, because the smart pick will pick the lowest z-value within the search radius based on the grid. Okay? So then you can export these points out, and this is your tin points for the road. These are all ground points. You can just export and then create a tin in AutoCAD or whatever your preferred CAD engine is. Now you can do other smart picks, of course, when you're using points in region. You can even use ground pick, and this works also if you're doing maybe terrain or you have really sparse data. Ground point will return points really well in like shrub areas and areas with grass. It'll try to find the actual ground, even if there's not ground directly under the cursor. So that is place points in region using the new function option of ground picks.